another thing we've been seeing in Major League Baseball, and you've been seeing it on different broadcasts, watching games, is the ABS system, automatic balls and strikes. And we got to see a little bit of it during spring training this year and last year, players getting to use it and kind of see how it works, counts to do it in. And I would say that whoever you talk to, whether it is players, whether it is managers, executives, the league, I would say that everybody is pretty happy with how smoothly it's gone so far. Now, I know you could say, Russ, I don't know if umpires are necessarily happy. I think if you talk to a lot of umpires, yeah, they want to get things done correctly. I think we've seen in the case of CB Buckner, we've seen an umpire have a bad game or two, where it's like, yeah, the ABS system made you look bad on this day. But every player I've talked to about ABS, the biggest theme is you want to guys have a good understanding of the strike zone for the most parts when you're in the big leagues. It's trying to do away with the egregious strike call or the egregious called ball, right? It's most hitters understand a quarter of an inch off the plate in whatever direction is likely going to be called a strike. That's why when you're watching games, there are guys that are like, nah, I'm not even going to worry about challenging something that is what we've known for a long time as a borderline ball or borderline strike. But it's the ones that are a foot out of the zone or 6 inches off the plate that are getting called balls or strikes, where you're like, all right, I'm going to tap the top of my helmet and we're going to challenge that. I think players have, I know players have big time respect for umpires because they know that umpires are back there for 3 hours watching between 300 and 350 pitches a night, and they're getting above 90% of those pitches called correctly. But it's just figuring out, can you do away with the 1% or less than 1% of those pitches that are called egregiously out of the zone or in the zone? So I think that's been a big time success for Major League Baseball. I think that's been something that has been a smooth transition. It's been something that I think, whether it is catchers behind the plate or hitters figuring out how to use it, when to use it. I've talked to some guys that said, hey, I'm probably not going to use it unless we're in one of those leverage situations, runners on base, late in games. You're not going to see me use it on an 0-0 count with nobody on base, even though there are some guys that haven't quite figured out the strategy. And you've already had some teams that have said we've had some meetings talking about when to use it. But heat of the moment, you're going to have some guys that say, hey, I'm tapping the helmet. That was a ball or that was a strike if you're the catcher. But yeah, I think there are a lot of guys that are like, hey, I know what the strike zone is. And I think that's one of my favorite parts watching is who has a really good command of the strike zone. Like, who knows what this umpire's zone is. And you can see how quickly big league hitters adjust and can kind of discern what a zone is, what an umpire zone is in the moment. I also enjoy watching catchers who have been watching thousands of pitches throughout their career and know what a ball is, what a strike is, and can quickly say, nope, that was a ball, or nope, that was a strike. And you see that really quickly in real time. So ABS, I would call that a big time win for Major League Baseball. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how we see it in, we haven't had the leverage moment. We've seen a walk-off ABS challenge where, I believe it was Samuel Basallo in an Orioles game challenged a pitch and he was correct, and then the game ended. We haven't seen a big time moment yet when it comes to ABS and maybe changing an inning. But you do see that from time to time where maybe it's a 2-1 pitch that's called a strike, and then you challenge. Now it's a 3-1 pitch. That changes the complexity of an entire at bat, right? Like, that changes what pitch is called, where a pitcher can go in the strike zone, what a catcher is looking for, what a hitter is looking for. So I like ABS and the new dynamic that is added.